Sergmanx here, and I tried to film this video multiple times in Lancaster, Pennsylvania, but there was always something wrong, whether it be poor camera quality, distractions in the background, loud noises, so unfortunately I had to come back here and film the video. But as you can see, I have this big tote of games. I think I went a little overboard, but I had to stop at my favorite retro game store in the area, Just Press Play, and I also went back to Complete in Box and found some real goodies. So let's get right into it. Let's start off with some PS2 games I picked up. First up is Sega Classics Collection. Is basically 3D remakes of old Sega titles such as Outrun, Space Harrier, Virtual Racing, and among others. So a bunch of games here. We have disc and manual. So this is fantastic. Looking forward to giving this one a shot. Next up, it's kind of a throwaway game, so I wanted to take advantage of the sale they had there. It was buy two get one 50% off. We have 24 the game. I have no grasp of the show. I've never seen it. I've only heard of it. I know it just stars Kiefer Sutherland. I mean, the graphics don't look too bad based off the back of the box. I'm not expecting much from this, honestly. Could be a good time or one of the worst gaming experiences I've ever had, but we shall find out. Next is another game that's pretty odd. I don't know anything about. We have Secret Service. I didn't even know this was a thing, made by Activision. See the back of the box. I guess you do Secret Service stuff. The back of the box says the president's been hit. Repeat, the president's been hit. So I don't know if the president was shot and you have to go find out who's responsible. There we go. We got disc and manual here. Very interesting game. Next up on the PS2 train, we have Grand Theft Auto Liberty City Stories. I'm surprised it took me this long to acquire a copy of this game. Of course, I have it on PSP, but playing it on the big screen, you can't beat that. Sadly, no manual. I actually like this game a lot more than Grand Theft Auto 3, so I'm looking forward to playing it and seeing if it's as good as I remember. Next is a game series you can't go wrong with, Ace Combat 5, The Unsung War. Here's the back of the box. Of course, we have disc and manual, so that's cool. Next PS2 game, I never heard of this one. It's called, I believe, Kinetica. It's a racer game from what it seems, especially from the back of the box. Now, I can't tell if the game is multiplayer or not because there's a sticker blocking it, but it looks like a good time. Looking forward to popping this one in and checking it out. And I think the last PS2 game we got is Castlevania Curse of Darkness. Now, I had a copy of this on Xbox, but the problem is I can't play it because I actually got my Xbox modded, so the disc tray no longer works. They stuck a big hard drive in there instead. So I figure I have my PS3 hooked up, that's the one that's backwards compatible, and I could play this game finally. So it's a great condition. Game and manual. Disc was extremely clean when I looked at it before I purchased it, so very happy with that one. I'm definitely going to play it sooner rather than later. Alright, so first up, let's start off with Resident Evil 5 Gold Edition, re-added to the collection. This includes all of the DLC, the Jill campaign with Chris, and the Mercenary Mode update, and it has PlayStation Move compatibility, so I'm happy I have this back in the collection. Next up, we have a controversial game in the franchise, Resident Evil 6, added back into the collection. I mean, it's pretty good. It's in pretty good condition for the most part, but the artwork kind of got messed up there, and there's no manual. I mean, it has this insert for the movie, but I don't even know if this game even had a manual. I feel like at this point they were phasing those out. I mean, it's not a big deal because I have this game on PS4 physically, so it's whatever. It was just to re-add it back to the PS3 collection. I like Resident Evil 6, actually. I think it's pretty good. Definitely not Resident Evil, but, you know. Alright, we have a very bad Resident Evil title here. Resident Evil Operation Raccoon City. Granted, I haven't played this game in years. I had it digitally on the 360. So, I don't know if my opinion's going to change on the game. But it was only $10, so I figured why not? Let's give it a second chance. And the last Resident Evil game, we have Resident Evil Revelations. A return to form for the franchise for the most part. It's still kind of very action-y, but it does bring back some survival horror elements. So it's nice to see this game leave the 3DS to come on to the PS3. So that's cool. Next up, we have a trio of games. We have the Modern Warfare trilogy. We have, of course, Call of Duty 4, Modern Warfare. This campaign is absolutely incredible, along with the multiplayer. But in reality, these servers are dead, so I'm just playing these for the campaign. And I think it's worth it enough. Especially with the Modern Warfare 2 campaign, I think it's the best out of the three. So I think that's awesome. Of course, we have Modern Warfare 3. Great campaign. Had good multiplayer. Love that trilogy overall. Alright, next up is another game re-added to the collection. Far Cry 3. I like this game quite a lot. I like the idea of not only are the humans a problem, but the wildlife out there. You can hunt animals and use the materials you get to craft new items, so that's pretty cool. Next up, we have a game from Bethesda, Rogue Warrior. So, I never played this game. I don't remember the reception around this game, but I looked on the back of the box. It seemed kind of interesting. So we shall see. Next, we have Quantum Theory, which is a Gears of War type game from Tecmo Koei, or Koei Tecmo. So, we shall see how this one is. Next, I've had this game on the Wii forever, and now I finally have a PS3 copy, Quantum of Solace. I actually did like the Wii copy, but I'm curious to see how this game is. Next up, we have Earth Defense Force 2025. Now, this is the kind of game where you just shut your brain off and you shoot all these different oversized creatures and mechs and whatnot. And it has giant spiders and looks like bees? I don't know. But this looks pretty interesting. No manual, but it's okay. Alright. Next game I had to re-add back into the collection. We have The Sims 3. I like the old Sim games. They're really fun. I haven't played the fourth entry, but I think that game's like free to play now, so I'll stick with The Sims 3 and everything beforehand. Alright, we only have a couple more PS3 games left, so next up we have Ratchet & Clank Tools of Destruction. We have disc and manual, excellent. This game is more of a return to form for the franchise, as the previous entry, Ratchet Deadlock, kind of changed things up a little bit. Never played it, so looking forward to diving into that one. Next up we have Journeys Collector's Edition, and this game features Flow and Flower, so that's pretty cool. These were all digital titles, so it all came together in one package, so that's awesome. And I think the last PS3 game we have is Time Shift. This is an early PS3 title that involves a lot of time manipulation, no manual, so I'm curious to see how this game plays. Alright, next we have the only PS4 game from this bunch. I got a brand new copy of Final Fantasy 15 Royal Edition. Now, this includes all the DLC that came out for the game, minus the very last piece of content they put out. I don't know why they couldn't wait until that DLC release, but then again, they also plan to make more DLC outside that, so I'm not sure if they eventually plan to make another complete version of the game, but as of right now, this isn't fully complete. It's missing that last downloadable content, so that's a little unfortunate, but I didn't like Final Fantasy 15 initially when it came out. I'm going to give it a second chance. Maybe these DLCs will enhance the game and whatever quality of life features they added. So, next up with the PlayStation train, we have 3 PS5 games. First, we'll start with Persona 3 Reloaded. I like the original Persona 3. It's not my favorite in the franchise. That goes to, I would say, Persona 4. That's still my favorite. That's actually the game that introduced me into the franchise, so I'm a little biased. So, we'll see if the remake of 3 surpasses the original. Next up, we have the Metal Gear Solid Master Collection Volume 1. Makes you think what would be in a Volume 2. But with the Volume 1, it's great to have these games physically for modern consoles. I actually downloaded them on the Switch. So I figured, let me get the PS5 version so everything is in one spot. Because the Switch physical is not even complete. You have to download like 90% of the collection onto this system. So it's stupid. The cartridge is pointless. So that's why I went digital on that. Alright, and the last PS5 game we have is the System Shock remake. I have no ties to this franchise, never played it, heard great things about it, so I'm excited to finally dive right in and check it out. Alright, now let's move on to the Nintendo stuff. Not as much as the PlayStation stuff, but starting off we have Street Fighter 2010. This is not a one-on-one fighting game. This is actually a 2D side-scrolling platforming action game. I've played it before. I think it's pretty good. I don't know what everybody else thinks about it, but what can I say? It's a good time. Alright, moving on up. We're skipping a couple generations and going straight to the Nintendo Wii with Battalion Wars 2. I had the GameCube original. So they made this sequel, and it's complete in box, thankfully. The manual's nice and colorful. I sure do miss manuals coming with every game, but hey, whatever. So, looking forward to giving this one a shot. Too bad it's not multiplayer. I'm not sure how it would work, though. Well, actually, it technically is. It's, I believe it's online. It had online gameplay, but split screen, that is not the case. No split screen on this one. Alright, now on to some Switch goodness. First up, we have Scarlet Symphony, which is a Castlevania-like game, more in the style of the linear Castlevania games, not so much the Igavania. But I played a little bit of it so far. It's not bad. It's pretty good. The first level is kind of a little hard. I know what to expect. I actually died a few times, even before we get into the first boss, but I have to keep messing around with it. Next up, we have Slave Zero X, a very nice game. It's like a side-scrolling slash 'em up, beat 'em up. I don't know. I guess it's kind of like a beat 'em up. And the graphical art style is really nice. It has a 2.5D art style with 3D backgrounds, but your main character is a sprite along with the enemies. It comes with a manual. So, I mean, I guess some games still do come with manuals, which is nice. Really fun game. Definitely check it out. Next, we have Felix the Cat, a collection of the NES and Game Boy title. So the NES and the Game Boy title. Felix the Cat. I only played the NES game. Not sure about the Game Boy game, but I had to get it physically. Alright, next up we have Sea of Stars, a game I've had digitally, but I think it was good enough to buy physically. I don't think it's quite as good as people made it out to be, but I still had a good time with it. I actually didn't beat it yet. I think I'm a little more than halfway. But I think it's a good time regardless. Alright, next game we have the Apollo Justice Trilogy. Now, I'm still way behind on the Phoenix Wright games, but I've been buying these collections because I just want to really get into the franchise. So eventually I'll make it to the Apollo Justice Trilogy. But I'm just glad I bought it before. Who knows, these prices go sky high for the physical games. You just don't know. And last but not least, we have the new re-released Shin Megami Tensei 5 Vengeance, which takes the original game and adds a crap ton of new content and quality of life features. So I'm looking forward to diving into this one. I enjoyed Shin Megami Tensei 5, so having more of that is pretty cool. So that is it for my pickups. Thank you all for watching. And as always, this has been another Sergmanx video. Have a good one and peace.
Super Retro Force.
If you enjoyed this video, give it a like and comment below your thoughts on today's topic. Please consider subscribing to the channel and hit that bell to be notified when the next Sergmanx video drops. Have a good one.